Taking a closer look at the film of Jordan Mailata's NFL debut, it's safe to say that a lot of the promise and the hype was absolutely justified. But we're now 2 weeks later into pre-season and the Eagles are 0-3 after a disappointing loss to the Cleveland Browns. The question is, in this offensive stalemate, did Mailata improve? Were there signs of development? And just how high is this ceiling? How much can change really within 2 weeks? Well, it's time for another episode of Eagles Film Room after you guys pretty much demanded it, so thank you so much for the overwhelming response to episode 1. It's time to raise the bar and take a much closer look at Jordan Mailata's third game as an NFL athlete. My name is Liam Jenkins and welcome to another episode of Eagles Film Room. The Eagles' offensive line wasn't exactly brilliant against Cleveland, but that didn't mean there weren't moments of promise, and Mailata's awareness was certainly one of them. Here, for instance, he helps pick up a double team with Chance Warmack and then switches to his man outside, delivering a strong punch and sealing the edge. Now sure, the sack was given up, but Mailata played that absolutely beautifully. And this leads us very swiftly on to our second point. His kickback is now much more compact. It's still explosive, but it's well controlled. And that makes all the difference when your head can follow your body when it comes to picking up a stunt. Now look at the way Mailata keeps his head up. We'll go through this again. He switches his man over to Warmack and immediately delivers that first punch. That is a veteran type play. The football IQ for someone that has never played the sport before is there. And it all starts with those fundamentals. Look at the kickback. That back foot does not leap away from his body. He's perpendicular to the man opposite him. This means that he can utilise that firm base and massive size to make a big play. Now, one area where Mailata struggled in week 1 was sustaining blocks. He'd often overload his body weight over the top and it would often end with him on the ground. But here we can see him using the upper body weight to his strength and driving through the block. And if we see the window that's open there, if somehow the running back was able to cut outside, that is a huge opportunity for a first down. And we'll see it here as well. Look at the arms, he's engaged, he's not letting that defender go. Even after he's lost contact, he's still driving after him. We'll take a closer look, the way he's driving him into the pile there, and that just does open up a big window for Josh Adams to sweep outside and make a big play in a tight situation. The power in that first punch can be seen throughout the game and it is terrifying to see. The way the defensive end here, who's obviously much lighter and much faster, gets thrown back like a sack of potatoes is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to see it in slow motion and again, watch the fundamentals. Mailata takes a much more compact stance here, he's keeping his arms close to his chest and just throws the pass rush around the outside and it buys Sudfeld time. Look at the power there. This video courtesy from Fran Duffy's Twitter account, a massive follow if you're not already. But Mailata just seems to be able to use that power now. He had it before and it would often hurt him, but now he's really driving forward. Here, for instance, he's able to literally throw off a spin move and just let it roll around his body and then drive the defender back. That's such a huge skill. If we compare that to week 1 against the Steelers, where look at the size of the kickback, his shoulders aren't lined up with the pass rusher, he looks a little bit insecure in terms of his footwork, he can't slide the feet along and he allows a pressure. But with someone so young in terms of both age and experience, there are bound to be areas of improvement and one of them just happens to be consistency. On that play he let go of his blocker and unfortunately he went through to make a big stop. And on 3rd and 17 we saw the same problem that persisted in week 1. It's that he's overloading that body weight, his legs go a little bit too vertical, he throws his weight forward to try and make up for it and ends up losing the block completely, and that was a quarterback hit on Nate Sudfeld. We'll take a closer look at it here. He gets out of his stance just a little bit sloppily here, and because of that he's almost fighting back from a disadvantage and those legs stay upright and he's almost trying to lift the defensive end away and it just wasn't going to happen, and unfortunately all that body weight came flying back forward like a gigantic seesaw. We can see another example of it here. He's trying to throw himself forward into that block and you just can't do that. It's got to be, as I said last video, one of the most disciplined positions in the NFL. However, again, there were some massive signs of improvement for Mailata and this just happened to be one of them. It's that composure still. It's being able to let go of the last play and not let that defender get under his skin. And most of the game, he was up against Nate Orchard, who was a former 2nd round pick, and the way he handles him like he does here is actually very impressive. He's able to slide his feet now throughout this block and take a look at the way he stays composed and stays compact. And for someone at 6'8", having to get under much smaller players, it can be difficult to do, but he's able to get those hands pressed into the chest and sustain that block. But for me, one of the biggest areas of improvement that we've seen from Jordan Mailata is that first punch is followed up. He's not giving up, he's not punching and standing off or punching and readjusting. The momentum carries through. We'll see a great example of this here. He thumps into Nate Orchard and look at that, immediately positions himself. And when you've got someone that big with a 35-inch wingspan, it's very, very difficult to get away through. And if we compare that to this play against the Steelers, look at that. His arms are almost above his head trying to keep that block down. His knees were vertical, his back was straight. There's not much you can do. And that's the one improvement. That only happened a couple of times, and it's going to. For someone that's 6'8", over 300 pounds, trying to push all of that power, you're going to see it time and time again. But he did a great job of managing those expectations and keeping everything on the wraps. But once again, I've saved the best for last, and this is what I always call running the ring. It's can an offensive tackle push a much lighter, much faster body all the way around the long way and keep that momentum going? And Mailata absolutely can. For someone his size to move that fast is very impressive. And look at this, he lands that first punch, throws the defender off guard, and then pushes him. He stays with him, moves him behind the quarterback. He runs that ring and closes the hoop off, and that's a great asset to have. A second time as well, drags him all the way around the outside, and it's the power, it's the precision, but more importantly, it's the footwork. He's keeping those feet nice and close together. He's not forcing all of his weight over one leg and pushing off the back foot, and it is a great quality to have. To force a defender who's trying to pressure the edge around the outside the long way, widen that window for the quarterback. That's amazing for someone that has never played the game until the spring of this year. Phenomenal stuff from Jordan Mailata. And do you know what? Having drawn the praise of Brian Baldinger, having drawn closer looks from Fran Duffy, he is absolutely deserving of this praise, and there is every reason to believe he will make this final 53-man roster. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, be sure to hit that subscribe button. The last one had nearly 50,000 views and 500 likes. If we can hit 600 likes on this video, that will be absolutely amazing. So be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new, and don't forget phillysportsnetwork.com for daily Eagles content. If you want to see a player filmed or analysed here at Philly Sports Network, drop them in the comments below. We'll get them out next week. From myself, Liam Jenkins, we'll see you next time for another episode of Eagles Film Room.